Hey guys, welcome back to Lit Survey 11. Our guiding question today is, why is understanding characteristics of propaganda important on the Keystone exam? At the end of the lesson, you'll be able to understand propaganda, characteristics, clarify, and simplify those questions on the Keystone exam. So, just as a reminder, kind of a review of what we've been talking about for Keystone Review. Remember that facts are verifiable. This is kind of where we left off. Opinions vary. Extreme modifiers can make a fact an opinion. The answer is often the option that summarizes or supports the main idea of a passage. Authors write to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. And remember the keywords for each type of writing. Do not let graphs and charts confuse you. Just look for the main idea. And when in doubt, just stop and think. So, we are analyzing propaganda and text organizational structures in this section of nonfiction. So, our key learning is that the definitions of propaganda terms are self explanatory. They mean what they sound like. They sound like what they mean. Key learning is keywords in the passages will help you identify text structures. The answer is often the option that best summarizes or supports the main idea of the passage. Cannot stress that enough. That is really important. So, we are reading between the lines with propaganda. So, in this key, we're going to brush up on identifying types of propaganda and interpreting text organizational structure. As we read through the review, remember that the correct answer is often the one that best summarizes or supports the main idea of the passage. So, propaganda, what is this big word? Name calling, what is it? Have you ever jumped on the bandwagon? Both of these terms are forms of propaganda, and they might be on the keystone. Propaganda is defined by the test makers as persuasive tactics used to influence people. Here's the good news, we got this. So, we are basically, when we're using propaganda, trying to make an argument. So, we're trying to convince or persuade someone to think the way that we do. So, if someone is sitting next to you and they have $20 to give away, you need to persuade that person to give the money to you. So, try to think about some reasons that you might persuade someone. You might say, well, I need it more than you do. You might say, I'm starving, and if you don't give me the $20, I won't be able to go to Chipotle and get a burrito, and I'll never eat again. You might say, um, it's recommended that for a good friend, 4 out of 5 friends will give their friends $20 when they have it. You might also say that according to someone like Ariana Grande, she buys her friends diamonds, therefore she is endorsing you to give those $20 away. So you're making an argument, convincing or persuading someone to think the way that you do. What we're going to be working on as we get into this lesson is the definitions of many propaganda terms. Now, these propaganda terms definitions can actually most of the time be found in the names of the terms themselves, especially essentially the definition is exactly what you think it is. Don't overthink or panic when you see the word propaganda. Below is a word bank of propaganda terms identified by the test makers as eligible content. This means that these terms are fair game for the test. So, to train your brain, test your common sense knowledge of these terms and try to match the term to the definition. Ask yourself, what do I think the term means? And don't forget to use process of elimination. The terms are name calling, bandwagon, red herring, emotional appeal, testimonial, repetition, sweeping generalization or stereotyping, circular arguments, appeal to numbers, facts, or statistics. So for today, I want you to do your best to try to match these terms, and you're going to watch a video on what bandwagon is. But in the meantime, if we look at these terms, we can see that some of them will just stick out to us with the name and the meaning. Name calling is just what it sounds like. It's calling someone a name to try to convince you that they're maybe good or bad, or to try to get your point across by kind of maligning their character. Bandwagon is the one that you're going to be watching a video on today. This is a big one that we see in many things. I'm going to kind of think of it as hopping on the bandwagon, meaning to kind of do what everybody else is doing. Red herring might be a new one to you, and we're going to go over that tomorrow. Emotional appeal. This is something like when you said to a friend, I need $20. If I don't, I'm going to starve. I have to go to Chipotle. I'm starving today. It's an emotional appeal. You're kind of appealing to someone's emotions about something that you're going through. Testimonial. So if you know what the word testimonial is, that's somebody talking about something. So that could be someone that's famous, and we'll get more into that. Repetition is just like what it sounds like when we hear words words or jingles or phrases repeated so that they stick in our minds. Stereotyping probably sounds familiar, but sweeping generalization might be new. But we have talked a lot about stereotyping this year. We know that's to kind of make a generalization about a group, even though there's really nothing to back it up other than what you think. We're going to talk about a circular argument, and then, of course, appeal to numbers, facts, or statistics is just what it sounds like. You give someone some info to try to prove your point. So when I said 4 out of 5 friends suggest giving you that $20, you're appealing to numbers, facts, and statistics to try to get someone to think like you do. So we are going to be looking and matching up these words together, and we are going to actually go over all of those definitions in our next lesson. In the meantime, you'll be watching a video on the bandwagon effect. And that is the effect that tells us that the more a belief or idea has been adopted by more people within a group, the more the individual adoption of that idea might increase within the same group. This is a psychological effect that leads to herd mentality. And that is what in marketing can be associated with social proof. So that's the kind of I'm jumping on the bandwagon because everyone else is doing it. So it must be the best way. So that is what you are going to finish watching for today. Have a great day.